May I speak to you of life? May I tell you again what life is? Will you please listen to me as I speak of life? It is a pity that I have to tell you what life is, because the truth is that you are life. And your so-called spiritual life is only about living and has nothing whatever to do with life. But I can say these things over and over, it seems, and you just don't get what you are. You just don't get it. You stay attached to death. You mourn death instead of celebrating life. You erect memorials to death, plaques, statues to death. You never celebrate life except when you're winning, except when things are going good for you. And then you're not celebrating life at all. You're celebrating death, living, which is death. Now, it is life. Life is the only truth for you. It is the spiritual way to call it God, to call it reality, to call it so many names. That is the spiritual way, and the spiritual way is phony. Because life is life. There's no other word for it, but of course God does embrace it. Reality is it, all those words, but they are distractions put forward by the human mind. You're attached to living, and living is death. And everybody who lives dies. Is that true? And when you're attached to living, you die because you are mortal. And then you mourn death. And when you hear of horrific circumstances in which many people die, you weep. Why do you weep? You weep because in the world of living, it is a mirror. It mirrors your own mortality. You are mortal because you worship death. You cannot celebrate life, as I hear people doing. When somebody dies, they're going to celebrate a life. What rubbish. You can't celebrate a life. You are life. You are the celebration. But when you're attached to death, when you mourn death, when you erect statues and memorials to death, how can you celebrate life? But then, that's the way of the human mind and of existence. There is no doubt that when somebody that you are love or are close to I mean you are married to, you live with, they are your mother or your father, some very close relation, it is indeed a shock when somebody dies. because we are human beings. And like the crows and the cows, they mourn if one of their little ones is taken from them. Not for long do they mourn, not like human beings, but they mourn for a little time, getting agitated and flustered by the absence of the thing that they loved and had become attached to. That is understandable. The people directly affected by death, not the bystanders. The bystanders, as I say, simply see the mirror of their own mortality. Life is immortal and living is mortal, because everybody dies. Life cannot die. Life cannot die with one person. Life cannot die with one bird. Life cannot die with any one thing, because life is not particular. Life is everywhere in every living thing, one single life. And we think that life is destroyed because somebody died. And we weep. As bystanders, you know, the bystanders weep. What they're weeping for is the shock and horror of seeing something that they thought would continue forever, including the other body, destroyed suddenly. Boom. But this society, well, talking of societies, it is utterly unacceptable. Please don't look over there, listen to me, please. If you don't look at the speaker, you're not listening, you're not present, you're going to miss what I say, and who cares if you do? You might as well go home. Keep looking at the speaker and you might hear something new. It is utterly unacceptable in our society for any indiscriminate act to take life or lives. Utterly unacceptable in our society. But in some societies it's probably okay. And so then we see that in various societies, the same thing's been going on. The Christians fought a holy war 1,000 years ago, led by the infamous popes. The line that this present pope came from, of robbers, murderers, rapists, popes, who's said to descend from St. Peter, whoever he was. They had a holy war and invaded the so-called Holy Land. I thought the whole land, all the land was holy, but not the Christians, not certain societies. And then the Muslims, they have a holy fight, a holy war, a jihad. Doesn't matter who it's against. It's all the same war that goes on. Different societies, different times, same war, same human nature. There's no such thing as a holy war. And there's no such thing as a war with God on our side. It is utterly and completely impossible for God to be on anybody's side. The Germans in the last war thought that God was on their side, and the English and Australians thought that God was on their side. And it didn't do much good, did it? For either side. for they died by their tens of thousands. And every Anzac Day or someone we have silence, a minute's silence for somebody who's died. What a lot of old rubbish. A minute's silence for the pity for yourself that you are mortal and you still will not let death go. So now, in view of the events of that horrific thing that happened, attack that happened in New York City on 11 September, we've just had somebody collapse off the chair. Yeah, they're taking, the person's all right, they're walking and they're taking her out into the fresh air. I'm reluctant to start again while there's 4 people who are absent from the room, but I shall keep going. Somebody has to speak the truth to you. Somebody has to, for God's sake. Somebody's got to tell you the truth. Now, because of those events, those horrific events in New York, I'm inviting you, if you want to, if you are moved to ask me any question about those events. Any question that's real. Don't be, and anything that I've said so far which sort of opened up something for you. So I give you the opportunity to ask me. Yes, please.
Yes, Barry. When I first saw that on the television, I laughed. And like a laugh I hadn't felt for a long time. And I realised by saying this in society's way, I'll put my head on the chopping block.
Well, why did you laugh?
Why
would you laugh?
That's the question that I
Well,
asked.
I'm going to tell you why you laughed. The whole purpose of laughter is to release pent-up emotion, pent-up anger, pent-up frustration that we have inside of us. And when we are confronted with such a horrific event, then you are likely, because of the shock of it and the mirror that you see of your own mortality, that something that you thought would last forever has been destroyed. And so many people obviously have been destroyed with it. So there is the pent-up frustration of being alive, that you see your own reflected mortality, that this can happen to you. And that's why people are staying off the airlines, because they think this could happen to them. And so you laughed. Not everybody laughed. Other people's weep. Many, many people wept. So that's why you laughed. Sometimes in the midst of an argument or amidst of a great tragedy at home or anywhere, someone can burst out into laughter and nobody understands what it's for. But it is a gift of God, a gift of nature to humankind, that comedians are able to make us laugh. that to speaking together humorous situations, we are able to laugh. Why? What is the reason for laughter? Did anyone ever investigate what was the reason for laughter? It doesn't just happen. We are completely robotic creatures. There's nothing that happens to us that doesn't have a good reason. And that's why in tragedy often makes people laugh, the shock of it. And why we all have to laugh, and what the sitcoms are for, the idiotic, especially American sitcoms. Absolutely idiotic. But now and again they came up and they make us laugh, those of us who might look at them. And we're releasing it. We're releasing this terrible, terrible tension that has got worse and worse because of our global society, our email society. So now you know what laughter's for. It has a purpose. Thank God. Otherwise we'd be killing each other more than we're already doing. Next question, please. Now you must have been affected by the event, so why don't you ask me a question and let me speak to the world? This goes all around the world, this tape. Let me get some sense, some common sense into the human condition. And this is not to deprecate the ones who lost their loved ones. In any way, their tremendous loss. That I understand, for we are, as I said, human. But as for the rest of us, it is a very wonderful thing, the people who went to the rescue and all the rescues, because there is nothing like giving up your own life for someone else in a right sense. Not like Jesus is supposed to have done, and that rubbish, dying on the cross for us all. What a rubbishing thing to do. What a stupid thing to do. What an impossible thing to do for us all. Absolute rubbish made by priests who are now running the world. We're all good Christians in the West. And we're all good Muslims in the East, or wherever it is in the Middle East. And all we're doing is killing each other because we have to, out of frustration and wanting and trying. So yes, there was a question here, please.
Thank you, Barry, and I appreciate you speaking about it because I felt as though the event did really have an effect upon me, and I don't quite understand it. Something sort of, really did. I can't really explain it, but I do appreciate you speaking of it, and I also appreciate reading the section in the Origins book about what was written about terrorism. And
yes, paranational terrorism.
Yes, I just feel as though I would really like you to speak about it.
All predicted it 18 years ago when it was written. This event was predicted, and so the others to follow, because it ends by saying that they have yet to do their, unimaginable worst. So this is part of their unimaginable worst. Now, what would be your question to me?
I'm not exactly sure, but I just appreciate you speaking about it. So
Why?
Sorry.
Why do you appreciate me speaking about it?
Because the events seem to be far-reaching and quite big for some reason. I don't know if I've got it out of context, so that's why.
Now, a few months ago, 1,500 or 1,000 people were killed in Peru by mudslides. Before that, regularly every couple of years, 3,000 or 4,000 people die of the floods in Bangladesh. A few years ago, in Turkey, thousands were killed by earthquakes, and in Greece, thousands. And so regularly, people all over the world, including the starving in Somalia and all those who are dying like flies every day, are dying. So where's all the heartfelt feelings about them?
I think my question, I understand that, I feel, but I think my question's more about, I got the feeling of a bigger picture that it symbolised, that you actually mentioned in the Origins book, the evolution of man, really. That's my question.
Okay. Now, I was talking of societies, but you've got to go beyond societies. You've got to go beyond the Muslims. You've got to go beyond the Christian West, you know, because the Christians used to burn people at the stake. The Christians burnt people at the stake. We can't take any notice of the Christians because they burnt people at the stake and they tortured them. And their popes okayed it, the Inquisition. We can't take any notice of the Christians that just say, oh, well, that was yesterday, God forgive everybody. You can't, because it's in the line of the Christian line, is to kill. And we're all good Christians in the West, as are all good Muslims in the Middle East, say. And the Hindus have been killing the Muslims, and the Muslims have been killing the Hindus for years and years in India. And so they fight on, and the Protestants are killing the Catholics, and the Catholics are killing the Protestants in Ireland. These are all societies, hopeless societies. We got to come to civilization. We got to come to the world civilization to get a grasp of what's happening. It is not societal. It is a world civilization. And we have brought it on ourselves. The entire world of man and woman, the entire world of persons have brought this on ourselves. For it is purely human nature showing itself. We have invested the world with our human nature. The world consists of our human nature. Our human nature then, because the world is like this, is filled of greed, corporate greed. If we can only get together like a tribe, or like a tribe of rapists, we can get together in a conglomerate like that, we have power and we can exploit another poor helpless being, like the conglomerates can do so. This is human nature. And we can kill people and we can thieve from them because it is human nature, to thieve and steal and exploit. And if you look at the world, which is the reflection of our human nature, you will see all the killing is because of our human nature. So you've got the wrong idea. You're not broad enough to see an entire civilization. That's what it is, and it is our human nature which made the world what it is. But we have allowed our human nature to go on because we've got nothing of value. We don't serve anything of value. We think our territories are of value. They're of value further down there, our countries. Our homes are of value further down, but that's all part of living. They're all valuable from a living point of view. But nobody is going to respect that. Our human nature is not going to respect your home. And what you've all seen and what the lady questioner has seen is that you are now facing your own human nature and there is no escape. It is a world war in the sense that it is the coming to the end of our civilization. And if you read my Origins of Man and the Universe, that was written 18 years ago, I think, you will see this all explained. But of course, we pick it up and we read it, but we don't take much notice. We don't live it at all. We say, oh, that's interesting, or we throw it aside and say it's too deep for us or something, when it's all about you and me. So you've got to see what human nature has done and what human nature is going to continue to do. And nothing is going to stop it because it is our human nature. You don't exist, I don't exist. You can't stop it, I can't stop it, because it's already in motion. But now it has reached a point, hasn't it, where everybody is shocked to see what happens next. Well, we don't know what happens next because our human nature often pretends to be friendly and loving and turns into a violent thief and exploiter and murderer, anything, bruiser and beater. That's our human nature. Now, did you think, as one of my I suppose most of you have heard my End of the World tape, written 17 or 18 years ago at the same time, in which all this, the cause of it all, is made quite clear to you. But nobody really took any notice of it. And now the chickens have come home to roost. And they will. You can't stop it. Bush can't stop it. The mullahs can't, nullahs, no, what are they? Mullahs can't stop it. The priest can't stop it because the priest started it all. The priest religion started the whole thing of human nature being able to get away with it in the name of God. The Christians did it in the name of God. The Romans, the emperors did it in the name of the gods that they tried to say that they represented. Religion. Religion is the curse of the earth. And if you don't, you better ask all the Muslims who have been killed by the Hindus, and the Hindus who have been killed by the Muslims, and the Protestants who have been killed by the Catholics, and on it goes. Religion is the curse of the earth because it gives man something to believe in which is not true. Not true. Living is in charge or controlled by men and women and their human nature. And they have, by their wanting, their emanation of their wanting, by their emanation of their praying, as you'll hear in the End of the World tape, how all our prayers, our useless, stupid prayers, some for good, some for not, some to succeed, some for someone to fail, all our wanting, did you think it was going to go just into the air and vanish? Do you not know that this is a world of cause and effect? That everything that you put into it has its consequences? Every single action, every single word that you use has a consequence somewhere in time. And it's been building up for thousands of years, and now religion has brought us to this sorry point. Religion is not life. Jesus is not life. Muhammad is not life. Life is what you are. You are immortal. You can die this moment. It doesn't matter that much because you are life. You are life. But you don't want to be life. You want to have memorials to death. You want to mourn the dead. You want to put up plaques and little crosses and things. Don't you see what this human nature has done to us? Well, you can't, because now we're in a civilization, and all civilizations have ended, and we are coming to the end of this civilization. And that's very hard for us to understand because, like it was for all the other civilizations, but we've done the job. You can't stop it. It's on the way. But the important thing is that you are life. You're alive, aren't you? Well, alive means that you are living. And you are living in a body. So alive means you are living in a body. Alive, living body. All mortal. Your body was going to die. From the moment that you were born, your body was going to die. From the moment that your child that you loved so dearly was born, he or she is going to die. So what's the big deal when the time comes? Well, the big deal is that while you're living, while you're attached to living, while you're attached to the senses, while you're attached to the body, then you are going to be shocked and shocked and shocked. Because everything that you love, everything that you thought was going to last is going to be destroyed. And it's not me saying this. I'm not a red-hot Christian or anything getting you emotional. I'm saying, would you please look at the situation? Am I making it up, or has it happened? Are the Palestinians killing the Israelis? Are the Israelis killing the Palestinians? Are all the other wars that I've just mentioned going on? Apart from the torture of so many people, are you going to say it's not going on? Where do you think it comes from? It comes from the same place as the attack on September 11 comes from. We did it. We made it. We are responsible. The living who have lived and didn't realize I am life. Who have wars in the name of God. Such ignorance on both sides. That God is with us, says President Bush. And that the mullahs and the Muslims say God is with us. Well, who's God not with? And if it is so, who's killing each other? It must be God. If he's with us, or it's with us or something. Listen, life is here. Life is immortal. Life is immortal, and you are life. But you are attached to death. You are attached to living. You probably wept or thought it was terrible when Princess Diana died. I mean, everyone that I spoke to in England, they thought it was going to change the whole English society. All it changed was their respect for royalty because of the Queen's, the so-called Queen's insensitivity. It diminished that, but it didn't change anything at all, because as soon as the headlines go, we get onto it, heads down and into it again, into our rapacious, greedy, selfish way of life in which we have no values to serve. What are you serving? For goodness sake, I have to ask you, the individual listening to this tape and here, what are you serving with your life? What is it? Sure, it is a wonderful thing to tend the sick. It is a wonderful thing to endeavour to reduce the suffering of man and woman as their bodies, not their emotionality, that's their trouble, but their bodies of physical pain. It is a wonderful thing because we are all living, and it is wonderful to serve each other in that way. But what's the value of your life? What are you serving? Utterly, morning and noon and night. What are you serving every moment of your life? In between looking after your children, looking after your sick mother or your brother or someone else, what are you serving every moment of your life? What are you doing every moment of your life? You don't know, do you? You haven't got a clue. You're too busy mourning death, being concerned with death. The only thing that I am concerned with every moment in this body, and you can't believe I, who's saying it, because I am not the truth, but the only thing in this body that I am doing every moment is saying, thank you, life. Thank you, life. Thank you, life. Thank you, life, for what I have in this living. Thank you, life, for what I have. Thank you, life, that I know life. I know life. I am life. I'm life. It doesn't matter what happens to this body, although, of course, it is right that each of us should do everything to survive, because that is the nature of the way of things here. Everyone should do all they can to survive, and will do that. Even if they take their own life. Before they took their own life, they did everything they possibly could to survive. But what a waste. What a waste. When you are life. I give every moment of my life, to the acknowledgement of life. Here. And then I see it all around me, and every living thing is life. The one life, and not 6,000 million lives, and then all the 6,000 million birds and the 6,000 million wallabies. Not all those, one life. And 6,000 billion forms of life, which we worship, forms of life. So what we're talking about here is civilization. Now, civilization, the Western civilization that we have built, is like a big moat dug around us all in the West. It is lined with the guns and everything, you know, and incredible scientific inventions to bestow death upon anyone who attempts to travel across the moat of civilization. And so civilization means that instead of me having to go out and go down to the creek every morning and carry the water up and then go and kill a rabbit, go shooting a rabbit or something to live, I don't have to do that anymore. I can turn on the tap. I can switch on the electric light, which never fails to amaze me that I have such a privilege to that little switch, and there's light. Whereas before civilization, I had to go and light a fire or rub two sticks together and do all the rest of it to even get warm. So civilization has protected me and deadened me. I am dead to life because I am so comfortable. I don't know what it is, but then the wonder of life, which is in charge of this whole existence, makes sure that I get shocked from time to time by the death of my child, by the death of my mother or father, and now by the horrific events of September 11th. Shocked I am to bring me to life. There's nothing like tragedy to bring humanity, to start to bring humanity, just for a little while, to life. But as soon as the headlines start to die away, we get on with it again. Nothing of value to serve. because that is human nature. Anyone else have a question, please? Yes, this gentleman at the back, please. Would you pass it straight back? I trust I'm not boring you all. Is this a terrible thing that I'm saying? Is it terrible that I'm saying, or are you so blind that you can't see it as a whole global thing, that everybody's fighting each other, cheating each other, killing each other, degrading our way of life is civilization and our lack of life? Do I have to point it out? Well, I do, don't I? Because nobody else is going to. President Bush isn't going to. And all the Western allies are not going to point it out to you. And the Muslims are not going to point it out to you. How can they? They're in the business of death. I'm not saying all the Muslims are. But I'm just making the general statement of these two opposing religions, and the terrible curse that religion is, with priests running countries, and just like they used to. Only now the priests are politicians. Oh, well. So, yes, what's the question, please?
Barry, I recognise what you're saying about what happened on the 11th, about the mirror image and seeing my own mortality in that. What's the process, or how do we go about losing attachment to living?
Why don't you use the word I? Repeat the question.
What's the process I use to go through to lose the attachment to living?
Well, stop believing it. Stop believing in existence. Stop believing that your house is going to be there tonight. You've got a belief in it, a belief structure, a mindset. You're not ready for the worst. And the worst always happens here. And when you die today. You don't die tomorrow like everybody thinks. You die today. So you've got to stop going into losing yourself in what you do, in your job, losing yourself in it. What you've got to do is give thanks for what you have. I mean, it's wonderful to be able to walk around. It's wonderful to be able to walk in the park. It's wonderful to hear the birds. It's a wonderful privilege to hear these things, because if you're deaf, you can't hear them, and if you're blind, you can't see them, and there are many that can't. It is wonderful to have so many gifts that I have. And then you can do your work. But then as soon as you get a break in your work, you acknowledge the good that you have in your life instead of thinking. This terrible thinking thing that thinks that you can work it out. You can't work it out, and you never will work it out. So, acknowledge the good, right? That's a good start. All the time. When you get up in the morning, acknowledge the good. All day, acknowledge the good. In between your work, and you'll work much better. Anyway, instead of thinking. Yes, someone else have a question, please. So we'll just have a little rest for a moment. You see, one gets the impression that I'm being horribly negative. But if you could show me something positive in this existence, please, okay, I'll ask someone to show me something positive in this existence. Come on, yes, this lady. Yeah, hand it down, please. I want something positive in existence.
Hello, I have briefly watched TV over what has happened, and my sense was that Bush or whoever was there talking presented the situation as if our society or we are good and we are against the not so good somewhere else, or what they have done to us. So I
well, is that true?
I think
is it good,
yeah.
what was done to the New York City. Is that good?
No, I wanted to say people believe themselves are good and somebody else is the bad.
Yeah, but that's understandable. But is it good what was done to New York City?
Well, it is happening. That's all I can say. As you said, other people in other countries suffer and die from all sorts of situations, I feel. Well,
Yes, but
that
then
was
you have
such
to
a
see,
situation.
then you have to see the whole of life. The death of your children, the death of your mother and father, whatever's going to happen tomorrow that is going to take something that you love from you, you have to see that as right, the whole lot of it. And I suspect that that's not the case.
So it is really a change in your teaching to focus on the good as creation
No.
and not on our own achievements as we trying to be good or we trying to be better than others.
How can you try to be good? You cannot try to be good because who's trying? The thing that's unhappy, the thing that's not good is trying to be good. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's not a change in my teaching. My teaching has always been acknowledge the good. That's not a change. Not at all. You have to be big enough not to be attached to this existence because you're going to die. You had no hope to start with. But we've built up hope, haven't we? Everybody's built up hope. And there's no hope. But you don't need hope because I am life. I'm going to die. My body's going to die, but who cares? I'm life. But, okay. Okay, well, we're going to go quiet for a little while now and just be still. Nothing's happened. It's all that I'm doing is pointing out that you have no hope. While you are attached to your mortality, while you believe that everything's all right, everything's only all right as long as you are the intelligence of life, which is what you are anyway. If you are the mental creature that thinks about things, then you are going to suffer. But if you are the intelligent being, which is the life in your body, if you are that, then there are no problems. There can't be any problems because death just has no sting. No matter where it hits. So if we only just be still in the knowledge, as much as it is possible, of the stillness and silence which is the being of life in these bodies, or in this body, listening to these words. That's it. Be still and know that it is life. Don't think. If you think, you will suffer. Be still. Be the silence and stillness of life that does not think, that just is. Now, having refreshed yourself in the absence of thought and concern, you can come back into the world of the living, where all these mortal bodies are, including your own. Now, would somebody else like to ask me a question about the events on the 11th of September? Or the ramifications of that? Yes, down here, please.
Barry, before the meditation, you asked about something positive. And one of the interviews I observed through all the drama were 5 men being interviewed. They were concerned citizens, and they met on the site. And they were of different colour in different areas of New York. And they just came together as a group, called their team Bravo, and gave each other names, and were there working with the rescuers. To me, I wept, because through that I saw people coming together united who would normally not be associated.
Yes.
And that was the positive that I
It
saw.
takes tragedy to bring us together, which is a great tragedy, is it not? Because those people who came together so beautifully, it is an act of nobility, of noble life, of noble living, that such thing, brought together by tragedy. When it all dies down and they're talking about and all the rest of it, they will gradually go apart and back to what they were before. Each one will be slightly changed within, but they still will not have the same wonderful oneness that they had in the midst of tragedy, because we're not like that. We are human nature, which any hole that appears in the web, the terrible web of the mind and the emotions, any hole that appears, which tragedy causes, we, as soon as possible, fill it up like the spider. We fill it up, and then we can get on with our loveless, meaningless way again. Do you understand that tragedy brings people together?
Yes, yes.
Right. Only by seeing the tragedy of existence can you stay in this togetherness with life. The existence is a tragedy, that men and women should be killing each other in Ireland, in Palestine, in India. It's a tragedy. It's not just the people fleeing and starving. That's not just the tragedy. It's all the other tragedy, the whole tragedy of people killing each other, because it is our human nature to kill. And then we make civilization which sets rules against killing, so that we're all reasonably safe, we thought, to walk down the street. But civilization is collapsing because it can't protect us anymore so that we can walk down the street. Because the whole of this civilization is decaying. The Muslim world, as well as the Christian world, it's all decaying. Nothing can stop it. The Irish world, the German world, everything's decaying. But do I have to point it out, really? Do you know that it's not safe for you to go out at night? Do you know that you have to lock your door these days? When I was a boy, and that's only a few years ago, we didn't have to lock the door at all. But we do now, because we are in degradation of the whole of existence here. It is just decaying and falling apart. And we are summoning our forces, not our power. For our power is the life within us. We are summoning the forces to combat the forces. And when forces combat forces, you have terrible destruction. Only the power can improve the situation. But the situation of living cannot be improved because we did it. You and I and all their forebears. We made this situation by all our terrible praying and wanting. We prayed for this success. We prayed for my mother and father to get better. We prayed for Jesus to bless someone. We prayed for this and we prayed for to succeed. And you can't do that because someone else is praying for something else over here. And all these prayers collide, and that is what has happened. All the ambitions of different ambitions of everybody have collided. And now we've got a global disintegration, the end of a civilization which failed. Well, it obviously failed, didn't it? If the Hindus are still fighting the Muslims and vice versa, and the Christians are still fighting the Protestants, and it has failed. And you can't walk down the street. But someone did give me a rose today from their garden, which actually smelled so just like a rose. It was so beautiful. But that I have to comment on it is a comment on what we have lost. Mainly through science, you see. The scientists have invented everything that's going to destroy us. Because they are not concerned with love and life and truth. They are only concerned with existence and matter. And so everything that they've invented has been used in the destruction of New York City that took place there and will continue to be used to destroy us. Better gunfire, better gas, better culture germs, better everything, all scientifically and biologically and technologically, scientifically invented, because they are not concerned with life or love or truth, words that scientists can never ever mention in their great body of knowledge. What can you expect? What can you expect if that is what you serve? What do you think the consequences are going to be? What you serve creates the consequences of your life. Is that true? Well, you might know that, but I tell you, it is the truth. But we've had nothing to serve except our families, our own wealth, our own ambitions. We give a bit to the sick and the hungry, but we've never served life because we don't know life. We've lost it. We've lost contact with life and built a civilization to protect us instead of the intelligence of life. Anybody else have a question, please? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, so from what I'm hearing you say, that human nature, on the one hand, is very destructive and unloving and so forth. On the other hand, we do have the ability to perform acts of love to our fellow kind and that sort of thing. So there seems to be the division, and so somewhere there must be the line drawn. That's one thing that occurs to me. The other thing is, like you're saying, we removed from life, and I've heard you comment on a couple of things that might put us back there, like cherish the good things that go on, and don't think too much. And I was just wondering, is there something else you could comment there that might help me?
What would you say that is good?
Well, for instance, helping my daughter do something, or feel an exchange.
Yeah, what you're doing for your daughter is the same as all the people on earth have been doing for their daughters since time began. It hasn't made any difference to the overall, has it? Because you help your own. Not just you, I'm not just talking to you. I'm talking about human nature is to help our own. We're not concerned. Of course we do something for someone now, but then 10 minutes later we're on our way again. And we do something for someone then, and 10 minutes we're on our way again. But that's human nature, to quickly walk away. Like the headlines, it is human nature, the headlines, to forget as soon as possible the tragedy that's happened and get on with the next bit. What is good? I'll tell you again what is good. Life is good. Living is terrible. Living is absolutely a terrible thing. But am I right or am I wrong? Could we just look at this?
I think I get a grasp of what you're saying.
But it's your experience. Are your mother and father alive?
They are.
Mm-hmm. And when they die, do you love them? You might not love them. You don't have to love your mother and father, but do you love them?
I don't harbour any hard feelings for them, so I respect them for...
Yeah, but that's not love. But at any rate, you don't have to love. You're not supposed to have to love your mother and your father. You don't have to. So, but something that you cherish is going to be destroyed for you.
I understand that.
And that's living, right? And that's happening everywhere. And 6,000 people and all their relatives that were really close to them. Terrible hole in their lives for a while. That's living.
So, Barry, I want to be able to do some more of life, and so I'm asking you, is there something...
Right, I'm telling you what life is. Life is good, every moment. And you give thanks for your life, every moment. What is good in your living is provided by life. What is good? You give thanks every moment for what you have. We don't have time to do that because it takes a very swift intelligence to be able to do that. And we are a lumbering, thinking intelligence that thinks about this and works that out and does that. And it's so lumbering that we haven't got the time, the speed to be grateful every moment for what I have. So the idea in this teaching is to get you to see living so that you're no longer as attached to it as you were. And when you're not attached to that which is threatening you every moment and will eventually destroy you and everything you love, when you're swift enough to detach from that more and more, you start to realize life, that you are. It's not something invented. You are life. If the life is taken from you this moment, your body falls straight off the chair. It's the life that's keeping you going, not the heart. It's not the brain that's keeping you going. It's not the heart that's keeping you going or the blood. It's the life. And as soon as life is withdrawn, boom, you fall off the chair. They call it a heart attack, or they call it something else. But life withdraws, boom, you die. Half withdraws, you get sick. Nearly withdraws, you're incapacitated, right? That's how it is here. But life is always the same. And what you've got to do is come back to life by detaching yourself from the certainties that you have of living, because your living certainties will be destroyed. But you must see that, like the 6,000 in New York, like the man who's being killed now in a car accident on his way to work. He thought it was going to be all right. He was only killed because he's living. But it's a state of intelligence to be able to see this. You've got to move at a great speed, and human intelligence is very, very slow. Very slow. And that's the idea of life, is to speed up, because it's an enormous intelligence, is life. Enormous speed. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Someone else have a question? Yes, please. This gentleman in the white.
Barry, this is similar along this theme of the war. What I got out of it, or was shattered, was my trust, and I realised it was a good illustration that I didn't have a lot of trust. And it's like, I can't trust you, I can't trust her, or I can't trust him. But I realised it wasn't about them, it was about me. I didn't have trust in life.
That is so. But that's very good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't want to trust me. Because I tell everyone, don't trust me. I'll let you down if you trust me.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to trust me. Just listen and see if I speak the truth for you. That's all.
Okay. My question was, how do I cultivate trust?
No, you don't want to trust. You must not trust, and you must not believe in anything, and you must not trust. But you must not doubt, you see. The need to trust comes from self-doubt in you, because you just expressed it very nicely, that you've doubted what you had before, your certainty. Didn't you say that? So, it is self-doubt, and you quite rightly put your finger on that, because you don't know what you are. You don't know what you're serving, you don't know what you're doing with your life really. And that's because you are breaking into now being able to see that there's something inside of you that is life, that's not living. Sure, life is living. Life is living, but you can take the living away and life is free. But while you're identified with the living and the certainties, and there's no certainties in it, which this is shown. And every day it shows us in some way or other that you can't have certainties. And there's going to be fewer and fewer certainties for us all, if we have them. So I say that you've seen something by being broken up inside and seeing that you have self-doubt, because you can only want to trust if you have self-doubt, because there's nothing you can trust in this existence. You can't even trust in Jesus, you see, because if you start praying to Jesus to stop this war, Jesus is not going to do it. And if you start praying to Gautama, Buddha, or any of them, or Muhammad, nobody's going to stop it. Because Jesus and Muhammad and all the rest of it are just ideas. You started it, you and I started it, and now it can't be stopped. Despite the efforts to stop it, will only be a contribution to more and more of it. So you're going into life, and you stay in that place. All you got to do is know that I am life. You don't have to do anything with it. You don't have to be good. You don't have to try to be good. You just be what you are. And stop trying to do anything and just do what you do. And then you're closer to life. Because the birds only do what they do. They're closer to life than we are. And the animals only do what they do because they're closer to life. We have to think about what we're going to do because we don't know what we're going to do and we don't know what's best. And we're always thinking what's best. And whatever we do turns out eventually not to be for the best because it always has. Nothing is perfect here. Nothing. It's not supposed to be, since you're going to die anyway. I mean, it's crazy. But you ask me a question later if you move to. Anyone else have a question, please? So you weep for your own mortality. You look into the world and you see it. The world is a mirror. Your world is a mirror for you, of what human nature is. And you are human nature, like us all are. But we're something greater. And when the greater is in the body, the life, the intelligence is there, and the human nature does not have the same force in it because it's overruled by higher intelligence, which is what life is in you. Anyone else have a question, please? Yes, over to Narelle. Sorry, I've forgotten your name.
Leanne.
Leanne, yes.
Yeah. Barry, when I saw on the news what happened, there was really nothing in me at all. As time's gone on and I've heard people speak of it, I know intellectually that what happened was, I can see the suffering of it, and I know that that isn't good. And I know that if it happened in my backyard, I would have felt a lot. You know, it's not that I'm so detached from it, but I really can't associate with it. And I felt judgment from people about that. And it's got to the point where, well, I don't say anything about not having feeling any real connection with it. But is this a lack of love in me, where I'm not having as much compassion as other people seem to have about it? Because I don't feel very much at all at times.
Well, listen, you have to be what you are. It doesn't matter what people expect of you. For God's sake, you are what you are. If you're incompassionate, and that's a word, then you're incompassionate. But I don't know whether you're incompassionate or not. I just say it had no emotional effect on you. That's what you're telling me. I do have to say, though, that often in times of tragedy, the thing that's hit is the human mind. And the mind is struck in a state of disbelief. And so there's no feeling. Feeling often disappears when the mind has disbelief in the enormity of what happens. Now, this is not always, and I'm not saying that happened to you, but often disbelief. How many times do you hear it from people who's just lost someone? I can't believe it. You've heard it, haven't you? You've heard it, I can't believe it. Well, what am I talking about? I'm talking about that. The mind cannot believe what happens. It is just dumbfounded by it, and therefore has all feeling to the emotions is cut off. I can't believe it. I'm dead. I'm as cold as a fish. Can't believe it, because you're cut off from your emotional element. That's not to say that happened to you, but you've all heard it said. And that's what happens often. And you would have heard it on the television, but so many people said, I can't believe it. That's their mind speaking. Because the mind likes certainties. The mind likes that tomorrow everything's going to be there the same tomorrow, and that's its expectation. And so it's issuing a prayer of expectation that everything will be the same tomorrow as it is today. And then someone over here is praying that something won't be the same as it is today, because I'm so unhappy today that I don't want to go on. Now that's a prayer too. And so that prayer comes over here and collides with this one. And so all the other billions of prayers come and collide, and that's what you've got, the world. That's what we've created. It doesn't matter what you say or what you think about what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. It won't make any difference. It won't make a slightest bit of difference. It doesn't matter what you do. You won't make any difference to what's going to happen. President Bush can't make any difference to what's going to happen, and the mullahs can't make any difference to what's going to happen, because everyone is a party to what's going to happen. You can't stop it. It's made by us, and we must reap the consequences sooner or later. If you're dead, then someone else who's alive will reap the consequences, because they are the consequence of you having lived. They are the consequence. We are the consequence of others having lived, you know. On and on it goes. It's a place of consequences. And what the others have done, and the stupidity of the human race in thinking that you can want things and wish for things and pray for things without it having any effect. Well, heavens above, why do you pray if it has no effect? The truth is, it does have an effect, but not necessarily the one that you prayed for. Anyone else have a question, please? Yes, this lady?
I was wondering if you think that America did anything to bring that onto themselves.
No, I'm not going along with that bit of propaganda. Did America do something to bring this on themselves? Okay. Did anyone do anything to bring the death of their mother or father onto themselves? The disaster that happens in your life, everybody's looking for a cause. There is only one cause, and it is human nature. America has had to rise up like the Christians, the Europeans, kings and everything, who did their thing and then were destroyed and forgotten and buried. And then the Romans, and then everybody, they got wiped out by the Huns, and then the Huns come down and they got wiped out. And so it is, everything is an evolving state of civilization. America is just one blip in the time of this civilization, which has lasted what 4,000 or 5,000 years, 6,000 years? Right, one blip. Whoever beats America will have its time, perhaps, unless it's all wiped out before that. Everything will come and go. No, I don't consider that America brought this on itself, because it's coming onto you. Did you bring it on yourself? I mean, if you're the one affected, it's not America that is affected, it's you that's affected. Did you bring it on yourself?
Well, when tragic things happen to me, I often ask myself.
Well, this is tragic, isn't it?
Yes.
You brought it on yourself, but it's not you, because there's no persons. Persons are an illusion. We've invented persons. The whole human race has brought this on itself, and you and I are itself, and we have brought it on ourselves. Because you and my life is not just one blip like a nation is. We are a micro blip in our little 70 years. Because it's all got to be measured against a vast unit of time, let's say, called 6,000 years. And what was set in motion by all our forebears, with all its praying and wishing and hoping and getting further and further away from life, away from the earth, destroying the earth, which is the source of life, destroying it more and more out of greed and overpopulation because of the Catholic Church and all the rest of it, overpopulation because we think that having children is holy or something. Overpopulation is destroying the earth, destroying our values, destroying everything. And so there is a natural thing to wipe out people. It's a natural thing. Like everybody must die, but then there's this other thing going on, what we have set in motion. What's America done? What did the Muslims do? What did the Hindus do? What did the Catholics do? What did the Protestants do to bring it all on themselves? What did the starving do to bring it on themselves? You can't blame them. You can't blame individuals. It's the whole of us. We did it. But it's terribly difficult to get, isn't it? And it's rather difficult to communicate because it requires a speed of intelligence to get around it all. That's an enormous speed of intelligence to get around it all, to get rid of your own personal little desires and wantings, what you believe in, who you think started it and who didn't start it. Well, you and I started it. Our human nature. What else can I say? Someone else have a question, please? Here, please. Thank you. Yes, Nicolette. And thank you. Is the lady okay?
Oh, yeah, she's having a lie down, Barry, yes.
Is she outside?
She's out in her hotel room.
Oh, is she?
Yes. I'll have a look at her at
Thank you,
at tea
Nicolette, for
time.
looking after her.
It's
Yes.
fine, Barry. Barry, I did listen to your world tape just recently, and on it you spoke about that there would be a time that you couldn't talk about in that tape where the intelligence of man and woman would be, my understanding of it is it would be affected by this sort of thing happening, and there would be a great wipeout, and my sense was that some new thing would come along.
That is so. There's going to be a wipeout.
And
That is so.
at that time of the tape, you said that you couldn't sort of speak about that at this time, that we weren't ready for that.
No,
could
we're
be
still
spoken
not.
about.
We're still
And
not.
I assume that we're. Yeah,
We're still not ready. I mean, everybody's still attached to living and not immortal. I mean, what it's supposed to do is blow the world out of you. Tragedy is supposed to blow the world out because we are the world. Our minds is made up of world. What we believe in Labour and we believe in Liberal. And that's not to say that you shouldn't vote. I mean, you can do what you like, but we believe in those things. We get emotionally attached to them. With the world, we believe that what America's done something to someone, so they must pay the consequences. That might be true. But who did it? Who did it to make America come up? Who did that? Did the British do that? By what they did to the Americans, the original Americans. And then they killed the Indians. But what did the British do out here? Kill the Aboriginals. And when you want to go into any country at all, what are you doing? I mean, we've got favouritism, haven't we? We think, oh, that's all right, but that's not all right. Oh, that's all right. But we don't see the whole picture as one of human exploitation by human nature, of everybody that ever existed. We have wiped out all the natural people, burnt them at the stake, we've machine gunned them, we've done everything. All right?
Yes, Barry, I suppose there's in me a sense that maybe this would be it. This would be the blowout, and that there would be only a few people left, and that there would be some hope there that it would.
It's so. I mean, it's coming up, isn't it? It's coming up.
Yes.
I wrote that 17 years ago. It took some time to get to this enormity, but it's got to go worse and worse and worse yet.
Yes.
It's not going to rest now.
No.
But if you think it is, that's all right. You'll be, keep reading the newspapers. That's all.
But
you can get better.
Yes. I can only do it here.
You can rise above it.
Yes.
You can be life because you are life. Well, thank you all. It's time for afternoon tea. We've had a busy time here. And I know it's very difficult to get around the whole picture because that's the intelligence that's the resistance to get around the picture, is the world that's going to be blown out of people, and many people will have the world blown out of them, especially 6,000 who died in it. So I'll see you at what time? 3:40. At 3:40 we'll be back, and we'll change the subject a little, just a little, but we'll never get away from the subject of life. Thank you.